Listening test instructions. The listening test is about 50 minutes. There are 6 parts in listening test. You will have about 6 minutes to listen to each passage and answer the questions. The passage will be played once.
Hey, you look concerned. What's on your mind?
The final exam. I'm not fully prepared yet.
Well, don't worry too much. You still have 3 days.
Yeah, but 3 days will fly past in a wink.
Well, you still have time to cram things in your brain anyway.
Question 1. Why is the man looked worried?
You will hear a conversation in 3 sections. You will hear each section only once. After each section, you will hear 2 or 3 questions. You will hear the questions only once. Choose the best answer to each question.
Hey Derek, I ran into something odd during the last test run of the virtual reality sequence on level 3. I think there's a glitch affecting player motion perception.
Really? That's not good. Can you describe exactly what happened?
Sure, when I was moving forward through the cave tunnel, the visuals jerked slightly to the left, even though I was going straight. It felt like my avatar was swerving unpredictably, and it made me dizzy.
That's strange. Did this happen consistently or just once?
It happened 3 times, always in that same section. I double-checked my headset tracking, and everything else was working fine.
Did you notice any frame drops or latency during that part?
No, the frame rate seemed stable. The disorientation wasn't tied to a lag spike. It was more like the game misinterpreting my direction of movement.
That sounds like a motion vector misalignment in the navigation script. I'll need to dig into the code. Did any other testers mention similar issues?
Not yet, but I can ask around. It might be more noticeable if you're really tuned into your spatial orientation.
Based on the conversation, what might be a deeper reason Lena felt dizzy during the test? How does Lena's observation of the bug's consistency contribute to the debugging process? What can be inferred about Lena's level of expertise with VR testing?
You will hear the second section of the conversation shortly.
Let me replicate the scenario in the dev environment. I'll load level 3 and run the same sequence you described.
Good idea. Want me to put on the headset again and walk you through it?
Definitely. Seeing it firsthand will help. Okay, go ahead and enter the tunnel.
All right, I'm at the point now. And there, it just did it again. That slight veer to the left even though I'm moving forward.
Yeah, I see the data feed. The positional tracking input is solid, but The game's directional vector is shifting slightly on the y-axis for no reason.
Could that be a bug in the physics collision layer?
Possibly. Let me isolate the tunnel's bounding mesh. Ah, here's something. The navigation collider isn't symmetrical, it's offset slightly, probably due to a patch we applied last week.
So players are unintentionally being nudged by invisible geometry.
Exactly. And since the collision box is skewed, the game's motion prediction system thinks the player is adjusting direction.
That would explain the feeling of veering and dizziness.
I'll fix the mesh alignment and rerun the build. Give me 10 minutes.
What is most likely the cause of the dizziness Lena mentions? Why does Derek say, seeing it firsthand will help? What does Lena's immediate spotting of the veering issue during testing suggest about the bug?
You will hear the third section of the conversation shortly.
All right, I've adjusted the collider mesh and updated the motion prediction parameters. Let's try it again.
Putting the headset on now. Entering the tunnel. Walking forward and... no shift. It's perfectly stable.
Great. Let's test a few more times to be sure. Still good?
Yep. I went back and forth 3 times. No veering, no dizziness. Whatever you changed worked.
Excellent. I'll also add an automated test to check for irregular vector shifts during spatial navigation.
Smart move. That'll help catch this early if it happens in other levels.
I'll also sync with the level design team. If they're modifying geometry, they need to double-check collider alignment before pushing updates.
Good call. It's amazing how something as small as a skewed mesh can mess with your whole sense of balance in VR.
That's what makes VR dev so tricky. Immersion depends on absolute precision. Thanks for catching this, Lena.
No problem. I'll jot down my notes and update the bug tracker. Want me to keep an eye out for any motion anomalies in other levels?
Please do. The more eyes, the better. Let's make sure the final release is rock solid.
What does Lena's willingness to test multiple times indicate about her role or mindset? What underlying risk is Derek trying to mitigate by syncing with the level design team?
You will hear a conversation followed by 5 questions. Listen to each question. You will hear the question only once. Choose the best answer to each question.
Good morning, Mr. Carter. Right on time as always. Good morning, Miss Jenkins. You know me, I can't go more than a few days without a good mystery. Any new arrivals?
Actually, yes. We just received The Silent Witness by Eleanor Drake yesterday. It's already generating quite the buzz.
Eleanor Drake, the same author who wrote Murder at Hollow Creek? I loved that one.
Exactly the same. This one is said to be even more gripping. It revolves around a retired detective who's forced back into the field when a cold case resurfaces, one that hits very close to home.
Sounds intriguing. Does it stick to her usual slow burn style, or is it more fast-paced?
It's a bit of both, actually. The first few chapters build the tension slowly, but once the plot twist hits, it takes off. I skimmed through the first couple of chapters myself. Couldn't put it down.
You're really selling it, Ms. Jenkins. Is it still available?
You're in luck. You're the first to ask about it, so I've just placed it on the new arrivals shelf. Want me to check it out for you now?
Yes, please. I'll probably finish it by the weekend.
Perfect. I'll place a hold on it for you once it's returned, in case you want to read it again. Or share it with someone. And don't forget to let me know what you think.
Absolutely. You know I always give you my full review. Thanks for the recommendation.
Anytime, Mr. Carter. Enjoy the mystery, and don't stay up too late reading.
No promises?
What can be inferred about Mr. Carter's reading habits? Why does Miss Jenkins mention the plot being both slow burn and fast-paced? Why does Miss Jenkins mention skimming the book? What is suggested by the phrase, right on time as always? Why does Mr. Carter agree to check out the book immediately?
You will hear a conversation followed by 6 questions. Listen to each question. You will hear the question only once. Choose the best answer to each question.
Good morning, Miss Carter. I heard you're planning a stargazing event for your class.
Yes, that's right. My science students are really excited about astronomy, so I thought organizing a stargazing night would be a great hands-on learning experience.
That sounds fantastic. Have you picked a date yet?
I was thinking of Friday, the 12th of October. Would that be a good night for viewing?
Let me check. Yes, that's actually a good choice. It's close to the new moon, which means the sky will be dark enough to see many stars and possibly some planets.
Wonderful. I was also wondering about the location. I considered the school field, but it's pretty close to the main road, so there might be light pollution.
You're right. For best visibility, it's better to go a bit farther from city lights. There's a park just 10 kilometers out of town, Red Oak Hills. It's a popular stargazing spot with minimal light interference.
That could work. I'll need to arrange transport, but I think it's manageable. Could you recommend some objects we might observe that night?
Absolutely. Around 8 p.m., you should be able to see Jupiter and Saturn. The constellation Orion will also be rising later in the evening. If we're lucky, we might catch a glimpse of the Andromeda Galaxy.
That sounds amazing. Should I bring any specific equipment?
If you have binoculars, bring those. I'll bring a telescope for a closer view of the planets and some star charts to help the students identify constellations.
Great. And just to be sure, how many students can participate?
As long as it's under 30 students, it should be fine. That way, everyone gets a chance to use the telescope.
Perfect. I'll send you the final list next week. Thanks so much, Dr. Lewis. This is going to be a night to remember.
My pleasure, Miss Carter. I'm looking forward to it.
Why did Dr. Lewis suggest Red Oak Hills as a better location than the school field? Why does Dr. Lewis plan to bring both a telescope and star charts? What does Dr. Lewis mean by saying, as long as it's under 30 students, it should be fine? What can we infer about the role of Dr. Lewis in this interaction? Why might October 12th offer ideal stargazing conditions? What does the phrase, "a night to remember," most likely imply?
You will hear a news item once. It is about 1.5 minutes long. Then 5 questions will appear. Choose the best way to complete each statement from the drop-down menu.
Good evening.
Fuel prices have seen a significant increase this week, driven largely by escalating international tensions in key oil-producing regions. The conflict between several countries has led to disruptions in oil supply chains, causing a sharp rise in the cost of crude oil on the global market. In response to these tensions, some nations have imposed trade restrictions and sanctions on oil exports. These actions have reduced the amount of crude oil available to refineries and distributors worldwide. Industry experts report that the price per barrel has reached levels not seen in over 2 years, directly impacting the cost at fuel stations. Several major oil companies have announced that pump prices for gasoline and diesel will increase immediately. Consumers can expect to pay more when refueling their vehicles, with some regions already seeing rises of up to 15% in the past few days. This spike is expected to ripple through the economy, affecting transportation and shipping costs. Governments around the world are responding in various ways. Some are calling for urgent diplomatic talks to ease tensions and restore stable oil supplies. Others are considering the release of fuel from strategic reserves to help stabilize prices temporarily. Economic analysts warn that if the current tensions persist, fuel prices may remain high for an extended period. This situation poses a risk to industries that rely heavily on fuel, such as airlines, freight companies, and manufacturing plants, potentially leading to higher prices on everyday goods. Consumers are encouraged to adopt energy-saving strategies, including carpooling, using public transport, or limiting unnecessary travel. Many are already feeling the financial strain as rising fuel costs add pressure to household budgets. Officials continue to monitor the situation closely, emphasizing the importance of finding diplomatic resolution. Meanwhile, markets remain volatile as traders react to news from the affected regions.
You will listen to a 2 minutes video. Then 8 questions appear. Choose the best way to answer each question.
Good morning, everyone. Thanks for making time for this discussion. As you know, we've been asked to develop new guidelines for remote work across departments. Let's dive into what's working, what isn't, and what needs to change.
Morning, Sarah. From the IT side, most employees have adapted well to remote setups. But we've noticed some cybersecurity issues, especially with personal devices. I think the new guidelines need to address mandatory use of government-issued hardware and secure VPNs.
That's a good point, Tom. But we also have to consider the flexibility aspect. Many employees value being able to log in from different locations, especially those in regional or rural areas. We don't want to restrict their access too much, or we'll lose the benefits of remote work.
Agreed. So maybe we balance that by having a minimum security standard for any device used remotely. What about communication protocols? Some managers say it's hard to track productivity.
That's come up a lot. I'd recommend regular check-ins, maybe weekly reports or virtual team meetings, but not full micromanagement. The goal is accountability, not surveillance.
We should also standardize collaboration tools. Some teams use Zoom, others use Teams, and it's creating confusion. Maybe pick 2 official platforms for communication and document sharing.
Good idea. Lastly, I think we should include training, both for managers on leading remote teams and for staff on using digital tools efficiently. Not everyone is tech savvy.
Absolutely. And don't forget mental health. Working remotely can feel isolating. Maybe guidelines should include optional in-office days or virtual social sessions.
I like that. It keeps people connected. So our outline is shaping up: tech security, flexible access, clear communication, tool standardization, training, and well-being support.
Perfect. I'll start drafting the document and circulate a first version by next week. Thanks, both of you. This was really productive.
You will hear a report once. It is about 3 minutes long. Then 6 questions will appear. Choose the best way to answer each question from the drop-down menu.
Universal Basic Income is a policy proposal where all citizens receive a regular, unconditional sum of money from the government, regardless of their employment status. Proponents argue that UBI could provide a financial safety net, reduce poverty, and promote economic security for everyone. Supporters of UBI highlight several benefits. Firstly, by guaranteeing a basic income, individuals would have more freedom to pursue education, training, or jobs that suit them, potentially reducing unemployment and underemployment. Moreover, UBI could simplify the complex welfare systems currently in place by replacing multiple targeted benefits with one universal payment. This would reduce bureaucracy and administrative costs. Many also believe that with UBI, people would have a better quality of life, as they would be able to cover basic needs such as food, housing, and healthcare, reducing inequality. However, critics raise significant concerns about the feasibility and effectiveness of UBI in combating poverty. One major argument is the high cost of implementing such a program on a national scale, which could require increased taxes or reallocation of funds from other social services. Critics worry that without additional support services like healthcare, education, and affordable housing, UBI alone would not be enough to lift people out of poverty. There is also debate about whether providing money unconditionally might reduce the incentive for people to work or seek employment, potentially harming the economy. In summary, while universal basic income offers an innovative approach to tackling poverty by providing financial security and simplifying welfare, many experts remain cautious. They emphasize that UBI might be a helpful part of a broader strategy, but is unlikely to solve poverty on its own without accompanying social policies and structural changes.